show up and be willing to do the worst job there.
Yeah.
And do it with a smile, because people will be like, what in the world? And it makes a big impact. It makes a splash that people just aren't familiar with seeing, and they remember it.
There's no easy way out. I just wanna know there's no easy way out. No easy way out. I'm not asking for another chance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony, and we are coming to you as always from the Woodworth building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. So I'm excited to introduce to you our guest today, someone I've known for quite some time now, and probably many of you watching have worked with her, and that is the one and only Mrs. Emily Marrah. Emily, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. It's really great to see you and awesome to be in this beautiful space.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to have you. We've talked about this for a while, and we finally actually made it happen thanks to Dan. Dan actually he's been scheduling my guest this year, because typically I talk to people like, hey, let's get on the podcast. And they're like, yeah. And then we talk about it and it never happens. So Dan is actually making things happen. So we appreciate him. And we're glad to have you here.
Keeping you accountable. I like it.
That's exactly
Checks and
right.
balances.
Somebody has to.
Somebody
has to keep me accountable. I'm a mess half the time. Hot mess, but that's all right. So today you are with United Way of Genesee County. You're serving both Genesee and Shiawassee.
Yes.
But you're also with 180 Associates Incorporated.
Yeah.
There you are the relationship specialist for United Way.
Yep.
And then you're also a hospitality consultant, which is kind of how we met.
Exactly.
I was the GM at the Comstock Inn, and you were doing hospitality consulting. You were working with DeMar, and we talked about events, and we shared a lot of fun stories about our experience in hospitality, which is a love-hate relationship, as you are well aware of.
The deep breath.
Yeah, but why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you and these different things that you're involved in, and what they need to know about Emily Marrah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very passionate about the work that I get to do with United Way. I think that their platform is amazing. It is something for everyone, and we work with so many nonprofits within the community. Through COVID, I realized just how important our nonprofits are, and thanks to the Cook Family Foundation and the Shiawassee Community Foundation and the United Way, we really are able to do a lot of good work here with our nonprofit world. We are coming up to Giving Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So Giving Tuesday is a global day of kindness. And it is a really exciting time for people to just come together, talk about great things that are happening, be positive, connect with our nonprofit network. So a lot of times when I was new to a community, nonprofit work was where I would volunteer, and I would get sense of community, and I would understand what was happening. And then I got involved with some garden projects in the greater Detroit area when I moved back to Michigan. And I've loved being able to give back. And so I think that people sometimes suffer from anxiety or depression or mental just angst. Mm-hmm. And getting out and giving back alleviates all of that.
Well, it's much needed. I mean, we live in a world that's, I don't want to say filled with, but there are a good amount of just selfish people. And, people can't look beyond what's happening in their own life and in their own world. And I think it's extremely important that no matter what you got going, that you're always looking for opportunities to give back, to be involved in your community, to be involved in a church, to be involved in some sort of a nonprofit, to give to charity, to support something that you believe in, stand up for a cause that's something that's important to you. I think that everybody should be involved with that. And of course, the problem is everything gets made so political today that people hesitate. I don't want to get involved with that because of the politics of it. And politics ruins everything, right? So many people enter things with such good intentions and a good heart, and then politics has to come in and ruin it. But that doesn't mean we can't still be good people and help each other and help our communities. That's what life is about, and that's what we should be doing.
Yes.
And you are a good example of that.
Thank you.
You are a good example of that. And you also are a rock star. You're a bona fide girl boss. You are involved in so many things. I was reading through some of your notable achievements, and I want to share some of these with our with our guests, our listeners, but guest is the word that I always say just from being in the hospitality
I do
industry,
too.
right? Even sometimes I call my clients our guests. So it's just
Yes.
10 years, it's hard to wipe it off. But you worked with a 5-star resort in Palm Beach, Florida at the Breakers. So tell us about that. What was it like working? A lot of people don't understand there's not a lot of 5-star anything. So working in a 5-star resort, that's the big league. So
It was. We were constantly graded. We were constantly secret shopped. We were constantly under a microscope. And every time that I answered the phone call within the catering department, so I was part of the social catering department. I graduated from Michigan State University with my hospitality business degree.
go Wolverines.
Woo! Go Michigan in general. Any Michigan sport or any Michigan team, I am like fangirl
You're here
of.
for it. Good.
Yes. So after graduating from Michigan State, I moved to, I faxed my resume from my parents' building, which is Myrtle's Chocolate Building
Yep.
here downtown Owasso, just 2 doors down from you.
Mm-hmm.
They had Mootsies at the time.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I faxed my resume to the Breakers because my sister moved down there, was living in West Palm Beach. My parents had bought a house, and I was like, okay, it's an amazing place. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's like Disneyland for adults. It's magical. And then I scheduled 2 additional interviews. So I had 3. I left Flint Bishop Airport at 6 a.m. I arrived in West Palm Beach, got off the plane, took a taxi to the house, picked up the pickup truck my parents had down there, drove to my first interview. They wanted to hire me in Delray Beach, and I was like, I'm not ready to commit right now, but thank you so much. I'll let you know. And went to the second interview, and they wanted to hire me right away. And I said, I still, have a few other interviews going on, but thank you again for the time, and I'll be in touch if I'm interested. And then the Breakers came, and I interviewed for a position that was so out of my league that I was nowhere near qualified, being just out of high school. But somehow the
Qualifications overrated.
Well, I was very green.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
what they kept saying to me. And now
Those are my favorite types of employees to hire.
I know, and now
they're willing
it's
to
my favorite
learn.
color. It's everything in
Yeah.
the world. Eat more greens. Like
Yes.
we need more willingness to learn.
Green is good.
Green is good.
Green is
Willingness
good.
to learn. And so I kept being interviewed from the HR person. Then I was interviewed by the social catering assistant. And then I was interviewed by one of the catering managers. And then I was interviewed by another catering manager, and then another. And all 5 catering managers by the end of the day I had met with, plus the director of catering, plus the director of food and beverage of the entire 5-star resort.
Yes.
And it was incredible. I was not offered a position that day. I left and I thought, I nailed it. I know
Crushed it.
I crushed it. Like it wasn't the position that I applied for that I'm going to get, but I know that I did a good job. And
Yeah.
so I was called 2 weeks later. They had created a position for me in May, and that's going into their off season,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I was one of 3 assistants. Actually at the time, the position they hired me for was a catering concierge. What that meant was I was a gopher.
Right.
The morning of a wedding,
Go for this, go for that.
I would check on the bride. I was the first person to see the bride. Never would have met her before, but here I am. Hello.
Doesn't stress her out at all. Like, who are you?
Welcome. We have your breakfast coming up. Your hair and makeup will be arriving shortly. And so I ran the entire agenda of a day.
Yeah.
And then I would go and I would take the seating chart and I would count places at the table. And then I would make sure that all the silverware was correct. And I would make sure that everything was exactly what it needed to be. The load-in schedule was correct. And people were coming in and meeting the band members and then taking them to their green room and saying, this is where you're going to be staging your stuff and where you can put all your things. We'll have food for you here later in the evening. And it was magical. I mean,
Yeah.
it was unlike any place else. And
That's
then
amazing.
3 of the assistants left, and I became the assistant to 5 catering managers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I built their training program so that when I was promoted, which was what their expectation was for me, that someone would step into the space, but I would already have that notebook and that playbook of how to do things, and did screenshots and just created an entire training manual on what I did.
Yeah.
And then they hired me to be their business manager at a top, well, it was a club court, and then they called it Top of the Point at that point. And I became a director of catering there, and then went to a 3 Michelin star chef restaurant out of New York, but he had a place in Cafe Ballou in Palm Beach. And I was his social catering manager for 6 months, and then he hired me to be his director of catering.
Wow.
So it was all cool.
All in classic Emily Marrah fashion. And I think what I heard here, if you're a young entrepreneur or a young person and you have a field that you want to go into, be willing to be the gopher. Like, go hustle, go apply for the big job, even though you might not get it, and keep applying, and just send them your resume and see what happens. Go through the 5 interviews and get denied, and then come back and do it again, and be the one that's running around and doing all the stuff that other people, they don't glorify it. But then, all of a sudden a couple people leave, and there you are as the person who's been working hard and the next one in line. And that's how you do it. And I think so many young people, especially today, they just want to go from high school to like the big leagues. And, and that's only happened to a few people in history, right? So it's not, they get online and they see these exceptions to the rule, like people that went viral and became an automatic overnight star, or somebody who had their, they got discovered on YouTube or whatever. And those things do happen, but it's so rare.
Yes.
And so if you have something you're passionate about, just be willing to put in the work, be the gopher, be the low woman on the totem pole, do it with a good attitude, outshine everybody else, and your opportunity will come. I really believe in that. I really believe in that kind of hard work. And think about the lessons that you learned. Like, think about how much better it equipped you for the hospitality industry, understanding all the ins and outs of what the people do every single day. And so
I have so much respect for so many people in the hospitality industry. And through COVID, it killed me to see everything shut down and to see so many of my brothers and sisters and people who I have had the privilege to work with. And
it was brutal on the hospitality industry. Brutal. Yeah.
Even our food and beverage industry, right? So
for sure.
But I want to get back to Raise Up Shiawassee and talking about some real positive stuff.
Yes,
because we have a kickoff concert coming.
Yes, we do. We're tell us about the event that's coming up.
Yes. So the Lebowski Center, which is just down the street here at 122 East Main Street, is going to be doing a kickoff concert in harmony, which is something for everyone. They have Third Degree Burns Band, which is a classic rock band.
Okay.
And they're out of Genesee County, out of Lapeer. It's a nonprofit of
do they
all
do
youth.
Journey covers?
I don't know.
We hope so.
I know that they opened in 2019 at the Ally Challenge for Dirk Bentley.
Oh, wow.
So I'm super excited to see them. They're legit, yep. And they're a nonprofit that works really hard to just have kids understand how to harmonize together and how to play music together. And there's 15 in the group. 15 kids in the band.
Wow.
I know. How cool is that going to be?
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then after that, we have Morgan Knox coming on, and she is a gospel, hip hop, and R&B singer.
I know Morgan.
She's also part of our county administrative position. So
we're
she's
actually working with her and the whole county on a website right now. So
yeah. She's wonderful and very talented. And then we have Waylon Hanel, who is a country music artist, who is going to be our headliner at the very end. So.
Wow.
Yeah, those tickets range between $23 and $33.
Okay.
And then we also have a Shiawassee Spark event, which is for youth, K through 8, are invited to go to Sideline in Owasso between 5:30 and 9:30. So the idea is the kids get to go do service projects in a box that are given to the nonprofits in Shiawassee County. And then the parents can come to the event at the Lebowski Center.
Okay.
So the doors open at 6 o'clock at Lebowski.
Night.
It's a family. Yeah, it's a great
date
time.
night. Get rid of your kids for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, and the event at Sideline is completely complimentary. It's free.
Oh, wow.
So we have limited capacity up to 100 kids. But we're really excited because it's kind of going to be like circuit training. If you think about like 15-minute intervals of doing something. And they'll be doing that, but then there will also be some different exercise opportunities in between, and there'll be some snacks for them to enjoy. So
really not only will you get rid of them for a while, they'll be worn out when they get home, so they'll go right to bed. It sounds like a perfect date night for a couple with kids.
I think
or
so.
Without kids,
or without kids. And then after the concert, for those who don't have kids or who maybe they have a babysitter for their kids, they are able to go to a special meet and greet in the Studio Theater. So that's really exciting to be able to offer. All of that's on the Lebowski website, and you can also find it at raiseupshiawassee.org. We're doing cooking connections in Byron. Do you know where Byron is in Shiawassee County?
I do. It's a little like there's one light. If you blink, you miss it. But it's just, was it west of Durand, north of Durand? It's near Durand. I know that, but I don't know exactly which
direction.
I'm not holding a compass when I go there, but yeah. but I know it's near Durand.
I think it's going to be southeast of Durand.
Southeast of Durand. That sounds right. Yep.
I drove there. It's about 30 minutes, which
Yep.
is a beautiful country drive.
Yep.
We are going to be at the high school there. They have a CTE room, which is a commercial commissary kitchen.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I do now.
I know. So we're going to be doing cooking classes there.
Very cool.
I know. And before, you had asked what are some of the topics.
Yeah.
So it's going to be taking place on Tuesdays because that's Giving Tuesday is about generosity and kindness and being part of a larger group of people connecting. So Tuesday, November 1st, we're going to be talking about preserving and canning. On November 8th, we're going to be baking from scratch with Lauren Skinner, who is from Owasso High School. She did do the CTE program here in Shiawassee County, and she's now in Chicago doing her official training there. So excited to have her come back and do some different cooking things.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be butchering meat down on November 15th. So I know that that's the start of the hunting season for the big hunters, but for those who are maybe not hunters but are still interested in how do you process large pieces of meat and how do you make different great dishes out of them and zero waste. How do we look at zero waste?
That's important right now.
Yep. And then on the 22nd, we're going to talk about pantry staples. So if we find ourselves needing to go to a food bank, part of our Hunger Network or any of the food banks within our county or outside, what are some of the things that you could expect to see there? And what do you do with it once
Yeah.
you have it?
Yeah.
And also November 29th, we're going to be doing vegetarian and pescatarian. So November 29th is the official Giving Tuesday
Right.
holiday, which it's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So we hear about Black Friday, you hear about Small Business Saturday, you hear about Cyber Monday. Giving Tuesday is
Yeah.
really just about connecting and,
Yeah.
and making grassroots changes.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that on that same vein, I was named one of 50 out of 1,400 applicants for the Starling Collective this
Wow.
year. So
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm
Good for you.
very proud of that.
So lots of things happening. Lots of things. What is the best way for somebody to keep up with Raise Up Shiawassee?
Visit raiseupshiawassee.org.
Okay.
You can also go to the Lebowski Center and see about the concert details and the special meet and greet.
Their website, right?
Their website,
Yep.
yep. But really, raiseupshiawassee.org is going to be the space to figure out what nonprofits are participating. There's 24 this year that are actually
Wow.
participating, 28 fully that are supporting and participating. So United Way, we don't raise money from this. We just are a anchor support
Contributing sponsor,
and a
yeah.
foundation
Yeah.
to be able to give people the platform and give our nonprofits the platform to be in front of our community members.
Okay. So for those, okay. Let me stay on Raise Up Shiawassee. So many things happening, and it's exciting to hear all that stuff. I see stuff on social media all the time. But for somebody who's interested in being involved, maybe want to be a volunteer, or wants to give, is that something they can find at the website as well?
They can find that there. They can also check out the hashtag RaiseUpShiawassee on Facebook. If you type that in, and it will bring you to the Cook Family Foundation, who, who does our social media. They handle that side of things, and so you can follow all of the great things that the nonprofits are going to be doing during the month of November.
Very good. Very good. So check it out. We'll give you another opportunity to plug that here at the end of our episode,
Oh,
just
and
to
I
make sure people
forgot.
don't forget. Oh, there's more.
But wait.
There's more.
I just had to take a drink.
Yeah.
Then we have November 17th is going to be a free documentary screening at NCG Theater.
Oh, wow.
I know. We're doing Kiss the Ground, which is a Netflix documentary. It's about permaculture, regenerative growth, and understanding how we may be able to be a little bit more locally sustaining. Because as we saw during COVID,
Yeah.
supply breakdown,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Still happening.
still happening.
Still happening, yeah.
And localization is key.
Be more prepared for when it inevitably happens again.
Sorry
yeah.
about that. Yes. Oh, hopefully, yes. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Preparedness.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. A lot of lessons learned from that.
Yes.
So your main role, I mean, you got your hands in a lot of things, which ever since I've known you, that's always been the case. And you stay busy. You love the community, stay involved, always have a smile on your face. I've never seen you frazzled. I'm sure you have been, but I've never seen it, so that's good.
That's how hospitality is.
That's
And I
it.
think that was the
Fake it till you
5-star
make it.
resort.
Yeah.
Made sure that they said you were always on stage.
Always
So
on stage.
Everyone
we
is
used
watching.
to say that all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
And I always tell people, like, always on stage doesn't just mean everyone's watching. That means sometimes you have to play a character. That means sometimes you're acting like you're happy, even though you're not that happy, because you're on stage and you're giving your greatest role.
You are.
And so
Show up.
we used to do at our hotel. You ever watch The Office?
I love the
You know
office.
how they do the Dundies? We did. My first hotel was a Comfort Inn and Suites, so we did the Comfies. And every year we gave out awards to people who behaved, acted the best on stage, and we pointed out some of their roles. We had a good time with that.
I love
it. So let's talk about your main gig at the United Way. For those who aren't familiar with everybody's heard of the United Way, but for those who aren't familiar with the United Way, is what it does. Tell us about that and what your role is there.
Yes, so I'm a relationship specialist, which means that I get the privilege of working with our campaigns, workplace campaigns. So let's say Midwest Bus is actually someone who has run a campaign with us for a long, long, long time here in Shiawassee County. Every year we go in, we talk about the great work that we do here in Shiawassee County, the great nonprofits that we partner with, the community programming that we do. So in 2020, we actually did a Shiawassee SOARS program, which is support our area restaurants, was the SOARS acronym. It was about making sure that these restaurants survived and giving food out to the community at no cost.
Yeah.
Right. So we understand a lot of the barriers that our community faces. We support 211, which is it's a Michigan number that anyone can call, 211, like 911 if you're in an emergency. If you are experiencing financial traumas, if you're experiencing abuse or anything that might just not be right, mental issues where you may feel like you can't continue on any further and you really are feeling like you may be considering taking your life, call 211 and get connected with as many services as you can possibly get connected with, because that's where our nonprofits feed what they do, and that's kind of our clearinghouse, if you will, so that people are able to get the services that they need. We know Catholic Charities is here, but we may not know everything that Catholic Charities does.
Right.
We know Safe Center is here, but we may not know all the things Safe Center does. Or Voices for Children, or Respite Volunteers, or the YMCA. I mean, I can go on and on about the wonderful nonprofits in our community, and I I get to have the platform to share that work because many nonprofits run on shoestring budgets.
Oh, for sure.
And it was funny. I was talking to another nonprofit executive director the other day, and she said, people actually think nonprofits don't need to make money.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you do programming without making...
Nonprofit doesn't mean that you can't make a profit. It just means you're not sending the profits to a CEO. You're using the profits to
fulfill
run programs, to help organizations, to help other things. Yeah. So
Yep. And I'm super
you have
proud.
to make some money
Well,
and to pay for the staff.
And for United Way, before when United Way was its own here in Shiawassee County, I looked at the books, and in 1 year they had raised $120,000, but only granted out $20,000. We raise less than $55,000, and we consistently give out $55,000 in our competitive grant process that opens up every March. So it's another thing that I get to do. So not only do I get to do workplace campaigns, which is where if any number of employees, if you have 5 employees or if you have 500 employees, the hospital runs a campaign, the county will run a campaign this year. We finally were able to get a resolution that they are going to offer the opportunity for anyone who works for the county to be able to give $1 or $5 per paycheck. And then we take all of that money and then we give it out to our community nonprofits that tell us what their programs are that they want to run.
Wow.
And we also expect metrics. So we do a mid-year site visit and we check in and we say, how are things going? What are some of the problems that you're facing? So I'm a very analytical thinker, and I like to break issues down and then build it back up so that it's fixed. So I have sometimes been called an engineer, a communication engineer, and different things. And so helping get through barriers and helping connect our nonprofits with other nonprofits and maximizing our work is really what I dig the most about what I do.
Yeah.
and making sure that we are serving all of our community and that there is equity and that we see the diversification in people and that we welcome everyone, because it's a really tough world to live in, and we don't know what everybody's going through.
Exactly.
But gosh almighty, if you can show up with a smile and you can say thank you to somebody.
Yep. Makes a huge difference.
Huge.
It's one of our core values is kindness. I think kindness matters. I think it's one of the most undervalued character traits, especially in business. I think that, you don't hear a lot of businesses talk about kindness or entrepreneurs. To me, it is one of the main things. That and gratitude, to me, if you can be the type of person that has gratitude, you realize you have more than you deserve, and show kindness to those around you, you're going to make a huge difference in your world. And I think what I enjoy about talking to you every time is like you can just hear it in your voice, see it on your face that you love what you do. It's not forced. It's very apparent that you love the things that you do, and that's why you're good at it. And that's why you have success, because you love it. I always say this, if you can get paid to do what you love, then you've won the game. You really have won the game, and you've put yourself in a position where you can be happy. I also think happiness is something that is undervalued. And, a lot of times people are raised to think, well, I got to graduate high school, go to college, and get the highest paying job and save all my money. It's kind of like they say that's the American dream. Yeah, you can have all the money in the world and not be happy. And so to me, I just determined the whole reason I even started my company was I wanted to be happy.
Yes.
And I determined what happiness looks like to me, and it's different for everyone. You gotta, I would ask anyone listening, when's the last time you sat down and thought, what makes me happy? And it's not about being self-serving, but it's about realizing happiness is important.
Very.
And so I'm going to find a way to surround myself with things that will lead me to being happy. And when you do that, then, the money or the achievements or all those things, they just come. And even if they don't come at the pace you thought, it doesn't matter because you're happy. And so I think that's something that people need to really focus on a little bit more.
Well, and find happiness even in mundane things. Like I find happiness in cleaning. I find happiness in organizing.
Yeah.
I find happiness in doing laundry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then I find myself feeling gratitude because I am able to do laundry, and that I'm able to fold my clothes, and that I have these things, and I'm proud of the fact that I've worked super hard to get them all. Right? It's.
Oh yeah. Well, we live in a digital information world where we are just bombarded with too much information every single day. And unfortunately, with the media and even social media, there's that phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. And unfortunately, all they're reporting far more negativity, far more bad news, because they know it sells papers, it gets clicks, it gets views. And so you're just bombarded with negativity, and you have this perception of the world and the people around you, or even people that might disagree with you on a political view or religious view or whatever it is. You have this idea that now we have to choose sides and we're enemies. And, I think that has really, and I say this all the time. I mean, we as a company, social media is a big part of what we do. But I will say today, social media has not been better for society. It is not. I mean, there are some great things that you can utilize social media for, but unfortunately, the majority of people use it for the things that really are not the best. And so, we're in a world where we know too much about everybody.
Yes.
And we know all of the bad things that happen. I was talking to a guest about this recently. When I was little, I remember being 6, 7 years old and riding my bike all over town, and my parents didn't even think about it. It was just come home before the street lights come on, That was kind of it. And so you just rode your bike all over the place, and that was just life. And, I'm not that old. I'm only 42, so we're talking the 90s. So it's not like, we're not like the Sandlot or anything. I'm in the 50s. So, but, I was saying that I don't know that the world is a more dangerous place than it was then, or that there are more evil people. It's just, about them.
Exactly.
You hear about it every day. Everything's in your face. And so you're like, I can't let my kids go outside. There's crazy people out there. You can go online and see all of the, the red dots of all the people in your area that are bad. And it's like, so everyone's just paranoid because of all this information. And so, I think it's healthy sometimes to unplug, to surround yourself with loved ones, to do things that make you happy. And that's why I think being involved in stuff like nonprofits is something that's good, because it's fulfilling. It makes you meet other people that are good and wholesome and happy. And you're like, okay, this is good. I'm around happy people. And it really has just a domino effect on how it even impacts you. So
it does.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Emily Marrah, the person. All right. We learn about what you do and all the things, but what you do doesn't define you. You're a whole person, all separate from those things.
I am.
And so we sent you a questionnaire asking some things, just about you and some of the things that we want to get to know. So we asked you
a little bit late.
Yeah. Yeah. It was late. Yeah. That's on me right there. But we asked
Dan wasn't running that part of the show.
No, if that was Dan, you would have got it 2 weeks ago. Tony, you get it 12 hours in advance. But the good thing is they weren't hard questions because they're all about you. Right?
Exactly.
So we asked you what the favorite place you've ever been, and you said Swank Family Farms in
Loxahatchee, Florida.
Loxahatchee. That's a mouthful. What is
Yes.
Swank Family Farms?
Swank Family Farms is a hydroponic farm in Loxahatchee, Florida, which is about 30 miles west of where I was living in West Palm Beach. It's a hydroponic farm and it's magical. There's
Really?
just no way to describe anything other than magic there. I had the privilege of actually cooking on the farm with a chef that we went out in the morning. We harvested what we were cooking and then we
Wow.
went to induction burners,
Farm
and
to table,
burners and
literally.
literally soil to table.
Yeah.
And it was the most wonderful vegetarian food.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was actually vegetarian food that we were eating and it was the most flavorful, amazing, satisfying, fulfilling nutrient thing
Yeah.
ever. And it was very cool. Different oils that we used and just seasonings, and food is so versatile. So I love that place. If you're ever able to go there, they actually do events where they do farm to table events where they'll host 250 people in their big barn area, and it's really agritourism at its finest. Like it's very special.
So if you're in Loxahatchee or nearby, stop at Swank Family Farms.
Yes.
You won't regret it.
You will not regret it. It is, yes.
I always love this
Jody
question.
and Darren, I'm sorry. I just plugged you, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I always love talking about this question where I ask people if they were stranded on a desert island and they had one CD to listen to forever. And you said it would be Weezer, the Blue Album Holiday.
Yes.
That's the name of it. This is the Blue Album Holiday?
Well, I really like Holiday of the Blue Album.
Oh,
So
Holiday
is
is
the
from the Blue
song.
Album. Okay.
Yes, and
I'm not familiar with it.
it's pretty great.
I'm missing out.
It's like hip when
Okay.
you're on a holiday.
All right. Give
I'm
us
definitely not going to be on stage singing at the Lebowski, but it is.
It sounds good.
It's a
It
great
sounds good.
song. Oh,
Yeah. We'll have to check it out after the podcast.
please, play it maybe as my intro or my exit or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Or Sia Unstoppable. That would be a
See
good
It
one, too.
Unstoppable. That's a good one. I do know that one.
Yeah.
But it's just one album, so you get for the rest of your life. It's
It would be Weezer.
It's Weezer. Okay.
And I think it's the same album that when my parents were doing the addition on the house that I grew up in my whole life, meaning my girlfriends in high school, played it so loud above their new room. Their bedroom is what they wanted to expand, which actually ended up being then my sister's bedroom above it with the way that it kind of extended and such. And we jammed hard.
out.
We were jumping up and down, screaming it. So yes, that would be the one that I would have on a deserted island
All right.
for the rest
I
of
love
my
it.
life.
I love it. It's your answer, so I mean, it's got to be something that you would enjoy. So
Yep.
that's great.
So everybody, check it out.
I love this answer. You said you have no totally irrational fear. You said nothing. You said you've been through the shadow of the valley of death and you've come out on top.
Yes,
That's a great mindset.
I worked at a 5-star resort and with a 3 Michelin star chef,
Yeah.
and I have been in the back of the house, and that is
It's brutal.
it's brutal. And when
Back
you-
of the house of a restaurant is a world that a lot of people have no idea. It is crazy back, especially
intense.
on a Friday night, Saturday night, or at a big event. It's like people will think about killing each other back there. It's pretty crazy.
And if you don't have your poop in a group,
Yeah.
then you are going in that walk-in and you are
Yeah.
having the executive chef
Yeah.
scream at you. And when you're asked to go in the walk-in, it's like,
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. It's
No.
not to cool
No,
down.
thank you.
It's not to cool down. No, I'm good. Thanks. I'm good. Thank you for asking. So you said if you could have any job in the world, you have it.
I do.
This is it. The dream job.
Yes. And when I went to college, I started in pre-med because I wanted to do pediatric cancer research. And so medical, 4th year was when I decided I want to go into hospitality. My mother was like, what? You were going to write a 10-page paper, single space font, 10-point font. So single space,
wow.
10 point, 10 pages.
Holy cow.
Okay.
I've never written anything that much in my life.
And I did. I wish that she still had it because I would love to read it now.
Yeah.
My life is so much better than any story I could have ever written. Ever.
That's awesome to hear. That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear. See, be willing to be the gopher.
Yeah.
And you can have
and
the
believe
job.
in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, and know that where you start isn't always where you need to end up being. It's the steps that you need to take to learn the processes and the procedures and the protocols and the standards of what's expected. And I love that I was able to be part of the best.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said that if someone made a movie about your life, that you couldn't say who you would want to play you. You said looking to others for inspiration. So what does that mean exactly?
I don't know who it would be. I don't know if I'm supposed to be picking somebody who looks like me or somebody who's been on a similar path. So maybe I didn't understand the question.
Yeah. Any ideas, Dan? Who would play Emily Marrah in the...
I mean, Reese Witherspoon, I feel like I love her.
That's a good one. That's a
I
good
love her
one.
a lot.
That's a great choice, actually. Yeah, I can see that. Drew Barrymore, I could see that.
That kind of came
see
to mind,
that.
too. I love
Yeah.
Drew.
I
Hard.
could see Amy Adams. She dyed her hair blonde. Yeah, that's a good one. So, yeah, I could see it. It's okay.
So
So
we've
now
got
you
a
have some
few.
choices.
We've got a
I think,
few. If any
I think
of them
Reese
would be
Witherspoon is a
interested
good
in
one.
talking.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hollywood, when the movie comes out, that's the short list right there. And then you said, your proudest moment is doing the wonderful work you love for the United Way. And I like this one. You said if you had one wish, do you remember what you wrote?
Our world would be a kinder place.
There's we talked about that earlier. Kindness is such an undervalued trait, but more kindness towards all walks and cultures of life. I actually just saw a Facebook post from this morning. Do you have Time Hop?
I do.
Yeah, I love Time Hop because it just is this is what you posted on Facebook and Instagram 5 years ago, 10 years
Yes.
ago. And it's interesting to see the evolution of the things you actually would post on social media. Like, why did I write that? Why did I post that?
Yep.
We were all figuring it out, right? So, but I posted something in 2015 or something that was very to the point. It was very adamant. This is what I believe, and if you were to post this today, you'd get killed. But it's just an opinion I had. And I read through the comments, and there was people from both sides just having a dialogue. Like, nobody got mad at each other. Everyone, I disagree. Here's what I think. And there was no snarky comments. And it was just a good, here's what this guy believes, and here's what this gal believes, and here's what this person believes. And it was all okay. It just, that's changed. It's like now if you disagree on something, it's like you're an
Off
enemy.
with your head.
You're an enemy. Yeah. And man, there are so many people that I know who I fundamentally disagree with on certain things, but it doesn't change who they are as a person or how I feel about them as a person. And, I think that we need more of that in our world. And there are certainly things that someone could do that would say, I'm not going to associate myself with that person because of this thing. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot of those things. There's a few things that just is like, okay, we're done. But I think that, if you approach people, see them at face value for who they are, and understand that it takes all kinds of people for the world to go along, and to be able to share your point of view. I think whenever I've been able to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody sharing my point of view, it's a much more effective way to get your point across, or to be heard, or to listen and hear what their point of view is. And you can have empathy and understand why somebody feels the way they do. And you can walk away still not agreeing, but
And that's
understanding.
okay.
But understanding, okay, I can see maybe why you think that way.
And everyone's entitled to their own opinions.
Right.
Right. And that's the beauty of freedom that we have in America. And, I just wish that some would think before spewing out things, because, the bullying that happens with the online youth and the groups that go on, it hurts my heart.
I wish that they would make the legal age for social media 18 or 21. Like, kids shouldn't be on there. I'm like, none of my kids know when they get to college and I drop them off, that's when they can have a social media account. So
And you are in social media.
Oh yeah, because I know what social media is.
Look at you.
None of my kids have
You're
it.
such a responsible father.
None of my kids have Facebook, Instagram. If your kids have Snapchat, go delete it right now. I'm sorry, that might be an unpopular opinion, but it's
Well, and they're coming out with new apps and new
All
things
the
all the
time.
time that we just. And I don't have children. Sorry, I just hit my mic, so that might have
That's all right.
thrown things off. But I cannot imagine raising a child in the overabundance, like you talked about, world of constant communication. Like they're just it's
Well, and what
nonstop.
social media does, what I've seen, because I mean, I coach basketball, so I work with a lot of young people. I was a youth pastor for several years. That was before the age of social media. But I'm finding that young people, they don't know how to communicate with each other. They don't know how to communicate with adults. I'll interview people that are coming right out of high school. They can't make eye contact. They can't speak. They're not used to engaging with people. So I think they're, like I said, think about it as an adult, the difficulties that you have of going through your social media feed. Like, tell me the last time you scrolled through Facebook and didn't get mad or, didn't get sad or didn't feel something angry. Like, so think about how your kids are processing that, and then they're dealing with their peers who are just brutal.
Yes.
I heard a comedian say one time that, kids got to try out being mean on each other. Meaning, like, when you look at another kid and say, you're fat or you're ugly, you see the reaction that gave that kid, and you're like, oh, I don't like making someone feel that way, right? So then as a kid, you see kids being mean to each other, and they're trying it out. It doesn't make it right, but they're seeing a reaction. It's like, oh. And if you're the type of kid that can say that and see the reaction and still feel like okay with that, that's a whole nother issue that, parents should deal with, teachers should deal with. But with social media, you're behind a screen and you can type whatever, and you don't get to see the kid on the other end of the screen who just ruined their day, ruined their life.
Devastated.
And so I just say, parents say my kids are being bullied online, get them offline. Like my 17-year-old son who's a senior in high school does not have access to the internet, does not have social media, does not have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those things. He has a phone he has an iPhone that is essentially a place to text or call only numbers that we program in. It's so locked out. He can't get on the internet. He can't download an app. And people are like, you should trust your kids more. And it's not that I don't trust my kid, but I also think you shouldn't set your kids up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain environments I wouldn't throw my kid into the wolves, and I think giving your kids unlimited access to the internet is throwing them to the wolves.
Screen time. It's
limit it.
There's
know
some
what's
sort
on.
of thing.
There are all kinds of apps and parental things out there that
Yeah.
you can see what the kids are doing. All my kids are attached to my iCloud account, so I can read every text that they send. I can see every picture that they send. And I get a report every week that shows me any kind of, if they were on the internet, what websites they went to. And my kids love me. We have a great relationship. We're well adjusted. They're not like angry about it. We have conversations about it. And guess what? They're just fine. I have a daughter that's getting ready to graduate college. And I'm just going to share this story since we're on this topic. I know this wasn't what the podcast was about, but this is a good story.
I know,
to
and
share.
hopefully this won't be like a negative that people are going to be like, no, this is such a terrible podcast.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. My daughter, who we adopted, she came from a very rough upbringing, and she was in and out of foster care. She was my niece, and she had come and stayed with us a few times in the summer. Just a sweet kid, but when she was 12 years old, whoever was taking care of her at the time just let her have. She had an iPhone, an iPad, a MacBook, and she had all the social media accounts. And she shared a picture of herself in a swimsuit, and the boys at school were just brutal. And she had gotten to a place where she was reading those comments and she was hearing the thing, and she started cutting herself and just seeing how it felt. And we heard about this, and it devastated us. Now, we already had 5 kids at the time, and I'm like, I don't know if I can take on another kid. 5 kids is a lot.
A lot.
But we loved her, and so I said, let's have her come stay with us for the summer and just help her through this. Her grandparents were taking care of her at the time, and bless their heart, grandparents don't want to be parents. They want to be grandparents. And so as a parent, sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Grandparents don't want to be the bad guy. They did that already, right? They just want to spoil you and then send you home to mom and dad.
Yes.
And so they were doing their best, but she was struggling. And so we brought her here, and we got her involved with our youth group And right away I just said, we're not going to have a phone. We're not going to have social media. We're not going to have, and I didn't have any teenagers at the time. My oldest kid at that time, I think, was 10 or 9. So I didn't have any experience with teenagers, especially a teenage girl. It's a whole different scenario. Mm-hmm. And I just said, we're going to put the devices away and we're just going to focus on be with the family. We'll have family nights and we'll spend time together, and got her involved with our youth group. She made some friends. She went to a Christian camp and kind of turned her life around. And she came to us as she was getting the end of the summer. And she goes, what do you think about going to the school? Our kids go to private school, which costs money, which is expensive. And this was around the time where I had just started my business, and we were broke. I mean, we were struggling to pay for the kids to be in school already. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know if we can afford it. My wife and I talked about it. We're like, this is the right thing. And so I said, okay, if you're going to live with us, then here's what the rules are going to be. And it was almost like the poor kid she loved the rules. The fact that somebody would tell her no, the fact that somebody cared enough to explain to her why we're not going to do these things. It wasn't a punishment. It was to help her and to share examples of other people who were struggling with things because of access to that. And so, we built that relationship, and I'm so proud to say that, like, she's a senior in college. She's getting phenomenal grades. She just got on part of the leadership team at her college. She has she's dating a very nice young man from our area who they're probably going to get married, and he has got such a good head on his shoulders, and she's done so well. She graduated in one of the top of her class in high school and just completely turned her life around. And we didn't let her have social media the entirety of her youth. And she was okay, and she got it when she.
Well, I didn't have social media.
Yeah, I didn't
when I was
either.
Growing up, and
I
I'm
didn't either.
really okay.
And what I want to encourage parents is just, and I'm not going to tell any parent how to raise their kids. I'm just saying from my perspective that if a kid misses out on something, that it's okay. It's okay if you think that there's something better for them. And, when I did allow her to have social media, we dropped her off. She set up a Facebook page and an Instagram. I said, the only stipulation I have is you got to request me as your friend. Now, once they're 18, you can't make them do that. But they did, both of them. And the funny thing is, not my son, who I dropped off this last summer, he just got his first social media, and they don't use it. Like, they're hardly ever on it because at that formative time where it can become very addictive, they just didn't have it. And so now it's just a thing, and, they use it. And so I just think that, I know how we got on this topic was that, we
need to be kinder.
We need to be kinder. We're living in a world with too much information. And I think that we can help those around us and help our kids and help those if we have those things in the right perspective, in the right place. And like we said earlier, we don't know what somebody's going through. And so to just not treat people with kindness because you're having a bad day or because you don't like the way that they looked or you didn't like what they said, it really is not good for society, and it's not good for you. It doesn't make you feel good about yourself.
No, and it takes so much effort to be negative. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's
so much easier to be positive.
It is.
And happy.
Just live life in a fashion that you're doing something that makes a difference. Yeah. And if you're not, figure out how you can get plugged into things so that you can feel like you're making a difference.
Absolutely. And the United Way is a good place to start with that.
It is.
It's a good place to
start.
start
So is Raise
with
Up Shiawassee.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have had, just an incredible journey, and it's been awesome getting to know you over the last, we haven't spent a ton of time together, but it's been, what?
5 or 6 years?
Well, let's see. I mean, I left the Comstock in 2015, 14, and I knew you probably for a year or two before that. So it's probably 8, 9 years now that we've known each other.
Well, 2013 was when I started my first company.
So, yeah, maybe.
And that was in Florida. So I didn't move back here until 2015.
So it must have been right around the tail end of my time at the Comstock. It must have been.
Were you working there still, or were you consulting for them?
I don't remember.
I thought you were consulting.
Maybe I was just consulting at that time. Yeah, because when I first started this, I was just doing a lot of business, especially hotel consulting and that kind of thing. So
yes, that's what I thought you were doing there.
Yeah. Well, so regardless of when it was, it's been great getting to know you, and
It has.
I look forward to seeing your journey as you continue to grow. But I know certainly in all of these things that you've done, there's certainly been some life lessons. And so what are some important things that you've kind of picked up along the way that you think would help other people on their professional journey or their life journey? Some invaluable lessons learned that would apply to a lot of people.
Show up and be willing to do the worst job there.
Yeah.
And do it with a smile, because people will be like, what in the world? And it makes a big impact. It makes a splash that people just aren't familiar with seeing, and they remember it. And it's really very cool to have the experiences that I've had. But I always showed up, right? And I there were times where I was overwhelmed and I was doing way too many events.
Yeah, I've been
there was
there.
1 month that was crazy. It was March in 2013, I think it was. Right before I started my first company in May, it was March, and I was at my breaking point. I think we did like 400 events in 1 month or something crazy.
Holy cow.
And I could totally be padding that because it felt like craziness, but it was so intense. And we were doing on-site events, we were doing off-site events, and we hit the glass ceiling of like, there's no more that we can do.
Yeah.
People are sleeping in the kitchen because they can't go home because they have to do so much prep because we have so many things going on. Like, it's just not sustainable way of life. And so also setting boundaries and managing expectations for yourself and taking care of yourself is super important. So, once I became that overstimulated, I had to say, okay, I know this isn't okay for my health. Mm-hmm. And I need to figure out a way that I can continue successfully in life by taking everything that I've learned along the way and then building the life that I want, right? And showing up and being willing to do anything and everything that you can possibly do.
Yeah, it's all experience.
To make your life happen. Like, it just, and no one else is responsible for your happiness except for yourself. And if you allow negative or fear or darkness to live inside of you, it's just going to grow, and it's not going to produce anything positive. And it just,
and
it's like a cancer,
It's all an experience, right? Yeah, it's all an experience. Everything that you go through, it can make you or break you. And if you determine that this is going to make me into the person I'm going to become and the person I'm continuing to try to be. And, it really is a state of mind. It really is a mindset to say, I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. I'm going to be willing to put in the time and put in the effort and put in the work. And I'm going to trust the process, And so
just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. I love that.
Keep swimming.
So I'm going to do this thing that we do with our guests called Explain That Post. Do you have your phone with you?
I do.
I'm going to send you a picture. There's a couple here that I had a hard time choosing which one, but I'm going to send you this one. I thought this was funny. And I'm going to have you explain. Our viewers will be able to see this, but tell me what.
I hope it's not bad. Did you get it from Instagram?
I went
from
all
Facebook?
through Facebook, Instagram. This one I thought was funny. Did you get it yet?
It just came through. Hold on. Let me take a selfie real quick so that I can document this. All right.
This says, what is your true calling? And it says, Emily's true calling is a queen. Explain this to me here.
So those silly like pop quiz tests or whatever you take?
Yes.
This was just one of those funny ones that I clicked on, and they probably stole a bunch of my personal information.
Right.
But they decided that my picture looked like I should be
You're
a queen.
supposed to be a queen. Yeah. Well, I agree. Let's make that happen. Queen Emily. I sent one more here. This one, I've rarely seen too many people that excited about anything. Why are we so excited about this cupcake here?
I was told to be excited by Alex Steck-Schulte. Photos by Alex Steck.
Okay. You nailed it.
I know.
You nailed it.
We were doing a 4th of July photo shoot, and I think that was the one. Maybe that was my birthday. I don't remember what it was for, but I was.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
if the goal was to be excited, you looked. I'm like, man, she is excited right now. That was a good one.
I was directed to be excited, so I take directions very well.
Good job. Good job. All right, so now we're going to move on to our Say It in 60 segment.
Yes.
I'm going to give you 60 seconds on the clock.
All right.
And we are going to ask you 10 rapid fire questions. Again, there's no wrong answer. These are your answers.
Oh, boy.
But you got to get through them in 60 seconds. Okay? So Dan has a timer for us. Dan, are we ready? Are you ready for this? This is going to get the last ounce of wisdom out of Emily Marrah for our guests, our listeners. Okay. The timer starts now. What is a must-read book?
10 Habits of Highly Effective People.
What is a daily habit everyone should do?
Make your bed.
What is your favorite podcast?
This is it. This is what I'm on right
I
now.
love it. Michigan or Michigan State?
Anything in Michigan, but I love them both. I can't. I don't. I'm not going to pick.
Okay. What is your why?
Making an impact that is going to live past my existence here.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Favorite quote?
Do what you have with where you are.
What is a must-binge TV
Or,
series?
no, I'm sorry. Do what you can with what you have where you are.
Okay.
Whoa.
What is a must-binge TV series?
The Office.
All right. What is a success to you? Last question.
Being happy and kind to everyone around you, regardless of whatever's happening in your life.
And we did it with just a few seconds to go. She did it. 60 seconds. Lots of wisdom there. Take those things to heart. And yeah. All right. Are you ready for the big moment?
You know it.
We are going to move on to the last segment of our show called the Whisper Challenge. This is something new we've introduced this season. It's been
I've
a big
seen it.
hit. It's been a
I
big
love
hit.
it, actually.
People seem to like it.
Oh.
So we're going to give you some headphones. Dan's got some music. Assuming some Weezer.
Ooh, is it Weezer? Ha! You might hear me sing it.
I want to hear some Weezer.
Is he gonna get to hear the same song? No. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, Tony, you got to hear it a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, you already? Is he playing?
No,
He's not
I
playing
can
it. So
hear
you can
you.
probably hear me now.
I can hear you.
Hey, look at that. I only have 17 text messages since our podcast started. That's not too bad. Oh, wow, that is loud. Can you hear me? Okay. Holy cow, that's loud. Okay. Right now, ready? Here we go. Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday.
Stephen King and I.
Okay. Giving Tuesday.
This is so hard.
That's the point. Okay. Giving.
Even
Giving. Giving.
TV. You need to enunciate better.
I know.
I need your mouth to open up.
Giving Tuesday. I'm not good at enunciating. Giving Tuesday. Last time. Here we go. Giving
Even
Tuesday.
Stephen.
Okay. No, the answer was Giving Tuesday.
Giving.
Giving Tuesday.
That I did. Stephen
Even
King.
Stephen was close.
Stephen King and
Stephen
I.
King and I. That was.
Okay.
Is this Weezer?
Yeah, it's one of them.
I've never heard this.
That's not Holiday, probably though. It was a little loud. Like actually having.
Hey, I've heard this one.
Yeah, that's it. So it's very distracting having
Hey,
that in
hey.
your head and then trying to figure out.
Hey.
Okay, can I pick
This
any
is
one
so
of them?
loud.
I know. That's how I felt. It was real.
No words to say.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Raise. Raise. Raise.
Race car.
Raise up Shiawassee.
Razor. Razor.
Raise
Oh,
up.
raise. Raise up. Raise up
Shiawassee.
Shiawassee.
Woo! All right.
Okay, I know that song now.
All right.
You're on a holiday. All right, are you ready? Cook Family Foundation. Okay. Cook.
Cooking.
Cook.
Cooking.
Cook.
Cookie.
Cook. Family. Cook. Family Foundation. Cook. Family Foundation.
Family Fun Day.
So close. Cook. Cook. Cook.
Goody.
Cook Family Foundation.
Free Family Fun Night.
So close. Cook. Cook.
Good.
Cook.
Hood.
Cook Family
Family.
Foundation.
Foundation. Shiawassee Community Family. No.
Cook.
Family Foundation.
Yes.
Woo!
Got it.
Nailed that one. Okay. All right.
Oh. Let's see what Dan's got for me today. A little journey.
Ready?
Don't stop believing.
Shiawassee Community Foundation. Shiawassee Community
Mutiny.
Shiawassee Community.
Shiawassee. Shiawassee.
Community.
Shiawassee. Raise up Shiawassee. No, we already did that.
Community.
Shiawassee.
Community Foundation. Shiawassee Community.
Shiawassee Chamber. I'm trying to think of all the Shiawassee.
Community Foundation.
Say the second word.
Community. Community.
Shiawassee Community.
Foundation.
Shiawassee Community Resources.
Foundation.
Foundation. Shiawassee Community Foundation. How do you... That is so hard to do. But I feel like you're better at enunciating than I am.
I know. I think it's the facial hair.
Maybe. Follow my beard. Okay, ready? Last one for me.
Go.
180 Associates Incorporated. That's so long. 180. 180.
Winona Ryder.
180.
180 Associates Incorporated.
There it is.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder and Stephen King. Yeah, that was a lot, but you're never gonna get this.
So wait. Okay. No easy way out.
Okay.
No
No.
easy way out.
No.
No easy.
No easy way out. No easy way out.
I wish I had something to swirl over my head.
Very good. Very good. You are much better at enunciating than I am.
Well,
Normally we have Sarah do this because she's better at it than me. But
she's not.
she doesn't have the beard.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
I think that's
she
what I
keeps
got.
the beard trimmed.
Well, and it is because she keeps the beard. Me too. I think it's because of the words that are playing, and you're trying to
Yes.
jam with the words, but then you're also
Yeah.
like,
no.
I felt like I was going cross-eyed looking at you.
Yes.
So,
It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
it was a fun one. I really
Yes.
like that. Thank you.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for being our guest today. We had some fun. We learned some new things, and we refreshed some old things. And we appreciate you being on the show. Before we go, I want you to look into that camera and just give one last plug for how people can engage with Raise Up Shiawassee or the United Way and the big event coming up.
Yes. So go to raiseupshiawassee.org. You can also go to Facebook and search the hashtag RaiseUpShiawassee hashtag, and that will take you to our events page and really just connect you with everything that's going on. So again, 28 total nonprofits that participate with this, 24 of which are raising funds, and we are so excited to just connect with our community and get out and do something exciting and have some great music. So please do come out and check us out. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you again. Yeah, come out and check it out. And thank you for going along on this journey with us. We always appreciate our listeners, and thank you for taking the time to support our podcast. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.